You're sitting at the kitchen table, coffee in hand. In my case, it would be a cup of hot tea, staring at your to do list, and it hits you. You've been solving everyone else's problems, but you can't remember the last time you stopped to ask what you actually want. We often feel like we're doing all the right things based on someone else's definition of right and keeping ourselves busy, yet, no surprise, we feel like something's missing. There's this nagging sense of being adrift, like moving through the days without truly connecting with what we actually need. This slow drift away from ourselves goes unnoticed for what it really is, a loss of self awareness. Because the truth is, reflection doesn't look like what we expect. There are no sudden breakthroughs or perfectly written pages, just this quiet realization that we're disconnected from our own life and it's easy to brush it aside until we can't anymore. If this sounds familiar, stay with me because by the end of this video, I'll share a simple but powerful approach to mindfulness for women, especially if what you've tried so far hasn't worked. And if you're new here, I'm Dr. Gayla Gorman, a licensed acupuncturist, naturopath, and author of What's Your Kryptonite. If you'd like to connect with me, use the QR code on the screen or go to drgayla.com/links. On this channel, I'm here to help you reverse the effects of chronic stress so that you can cruise through midlife and beyond symptom-free. In this video, we're exploring self-reflection questions and mindfulness practices for women so you can see how simple awareness calms your stress and reconnects you with yourself. Why self-awareness helps you break old patterns and make clearer choices, and the exact questions to ask that cut through the fog and show you what you actually need. So let's get started. Mindfulness is a simple practice, but for women facing the changes of midlife, it can really bring meaningful support and balance. Just taking a moment to pause, breathe, and notice what's happening right now gives you a way to calm the anxiety and reconnect with yourself, even when life feels chaotic. These small moments of awareness really add up. This helps ease stress and smooth out the emotional ups and downs that midlife brings. A few deep breaths, a short meditation, even just noticing how your body feels in a given moment can create a sense of calm and clarity. If you're ready to tackle those midlife symptoms naturally, you'll want to watch my video on one thing women can do to alleviate midlife symptoms naturally. The link should pop up here right on your screen, and if you miss it, no worries. I've included it in the description below. Now, where were we? Oh, yeah. So, as I was saying, when you bring that awareness into your everyday life, it supports your sleep, steadies your energy, and strengthens your overall sense of well being. Mindfulness really helps you press pause and notice what's happening right now. But self awareness, that's where you start to understand why it's happening. Once you can calm the noise and create some space to breathe, you're ready to go to the next level, getting honest with yourself about the patterns you've been living with. Let me show you how self awareness is going to build on that foundation. Self awareness is really about getting honest with yourself, noticing your patterns, and seeing how you respond to the world around you. For women, this kind of honest reflection can be so powerful. It helps you make choices that actually line up with your real needs and values instead of just running on autopilot. When you tune and track your reactions, you start to see the habits and beliefs that are shaping your daily life. That kind of awareness makes it easier to set healthier boundaries, to make clearer decisions, and to notice the areas where you're ready to grow. I will say that this is often thought of as emotional intelligence or EI. And developing emotional intelligence is going to benefit you in every area of your life. And a 2022 publication in the annual review backs this up. It's titled Developing Self-Awareness, Learning Processes for Self and Interpersonal Growth. It shows that self-awareness brings real benefits for health, decision-making, and resilience. Self-awareness includes both an internal side, understanding your emotions, values, and patterns, and an external side, which is about recognizing how others perceive you. When developed in balance, self-awareness reduces stress, supports healthier boundaries, as we mentioned a moment ago, and strengthens relationships. The research also notes that if it turns into overthinking or rumination, it can be unhelpful. But when approached with reflection and curiosity, it builds confidence and lasting growth. Many women don't realize that even when they understand mindfulness and self awareness, that doesn't mean they're actually getting to the root of what's going on. Some questions keep you stuck on the surface, and some lead to overthinking without any real clarity. And if you're asking the wrong questions, you could end up more confused than when you started. When you can't answer those questions clearly, when you feel disconnected or stuck, it's usually stress that's drowning out your inner voice. And the fastest way to reconnect with yourself is by addressing the stress that's been building up beneath the surface. Self awareness sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually get there? For most women, the gap between knowing you should reflect and actually doing it feels pretty wide. Here's what makes the difference: the right questions. I'm going to share 10 self reflection questions that help you check in with yourself, the kind that cut through the noise and get straight to what's really going on. If you don't have an easy way to jot these questions down, why don't you make sure that you've subscribed and save this video so that it's easy to come back to it? You can even take a mental note of the timestamp where I started discussing these questions. So I'm going to give you about 10 questions here, and these questions are really helpful even to journal around. And so if you haven't tried journaling, journaling is a great way to develop self-awareness. Remember, asking yourself the right questions is one of the best ways to pause and check in during midlife. It helps you make sense of what matters most and where you want to go next. Think of these as gentle prompts, little doorways that guide you back to your feelings, your goals, and what's really working in your life. I will point out that when you pose a question to yourself, to your mind, the mind is conditioned to respond to and answer any question that's presented to it. And so you'll just find yourself naturally answering the question, even when you might look at them logically and say, I have no idea how to answer that. So just trust the process and go with it. Here are a few to start with. What truly brings me joy these days? Where in your daily life do you feel happy, content, and energized? Next, where do I feel stuck or drained? Pay attention to the situations, relationships, or routines that might be wearing you down. Another question: what do I want more of in my life right now? Think about those activities or experiences you keep putting off, the ones you're actually craving. Next, are my boundaries strong enough with others? Consider how often you say yes when deep down you really want to say no. Next, what am I proud of accomplishing so far? Take a moment to celebrate the wins, big or small, that show your growth and resilience. Next, who helps me feel safe, heard, and supported? Think about the people who make you feel comfortable enough to be your real self. Next, how do I typically respond to stress? Notice the patterns. Do you tense up, shut down, or push through? And ask if that's really serving you. Next, what habit would I most like to improve? It could be something simple like getting better sleep or moving your body a little more. Or it could be more challenging, like significantly improving your nutrition or changing your relationships. Only you know the answers to these questions. Next, what message does my body keep sending me? Pay attention to the signals. your energy, your sleep, or those little aches and feelings that keep showing up. I will say that every symptom you're experiencing is a sign. The symptoms don't show up until your body has been dealing with it for an extended period of time and has basically finally thrown up the white flag and given up and said, I need help here. So, symptoms are definitely something to pay attention to. And lastly, how do I want to grow over the next year? Set an intention, whether it's about learning, healing, deepening your connections, or all of the above. Remember when I mentioned earlier the time you felt disconnected, like you were watching your own life from the outside? After I started asking myself the right questions, things shifted, and I know that will happen for you too. I could finally tell what lit me up and what drained me. Even little choices like saying no without guilt or resting when my body asks for it got easier. That's what a loss of self awareness does. When you lose that self awareness, it quietly pulls you away from yourself, making each day feel like a routine rather than a conscious choice. So now you know it's not about thinking harder or doing more. It's about pausing long enough to ask what actually matters. A few minutes of mindfulness, a handful of honest questions, small steps that help realign and reconnect. Because feeling lost in midlife isn't forever, it's your body telling you to stop and listen. And when you do, the path back to yourself gets a whole lot clearer. And if your best efforts to live a healthy lifestyle and do all the things you've been led to think are supposed to work aren't getting the job done, you may even be feeling like you take 2 steps forward and 3 back. I have more resources to help you navigate midlife. Just go to drgayla.com/links and watch my next video where I show you how to manage the toxic stress that's sabotaging your efforts. You can eliminate the symptoms that seem to be piling up in midlife naturally, without medication, crazy diets, intense exercise, or any other unsustainable lifestyle